RPO 5771. What's up, Jones? Good to see you, man. My best friend from college is on. So good to see everybody. Thanks for being here for another night. We're going to move forward, talking confidence some more as we've been laying the foundation this year to get momentum going. Um, Tonight, I noticed something. Something happened today in reference to my surgery, and so I wanted to share that. And it's simply this: that today has been the first day since my surgery that I've taken no medications, and so that's a big moment. Hey, Rachel, um, that's a big moment. So in this healing process, I was taking meds, taking meds, and and today I decided, all right, well, I think I'm doing all right. I've been decreasing them over the past few days and just decreasing the amount that I was taking, spreading out the time. And so I started going through this process of weaning myself off the meds. And today what came to my mind was that I actually had to get to the point of testing the process. I had to find out, all right, well, are you in pain? Are you not in pain? How much pain are you in? If we constantly medicate ourselves, guess what? We won't know. And sometimes in the process of developing and becoming stronger and becoming healthier and healing, we can get comfortable in what we've been using in the process, right? So you might be doing one thing in your process to help you heal. You might pull away from people for a while, or you might put yourself in a different environment for a while. You're going to change your habits. Healing requires that you change some of your habits. You can't do the same things and you can't do the same things and expect healing, right? So you have to do some things different. And so I had done some things differently. I'm slowing down. I'm not picking up as much weight as I was carrying before. And I'm having to monitor my activities, right? Being very, very careful because I'm in this healing process. The surgery has happened. So my body is trying to adjust to what they did, to the cuts that they made, to the mesh that they put over the hole that was there. So my body is healing. It's in the process. Even though I feel good, I'm not back 100. I feel 100, but I'm not back 100. And part of the reason I know I'm not back 100 is because even though there are no bandages or anything on my stomach, I know when I put on a pair of jeans and it rubs up against the scar, I feel it. I'm aware of it. So I know I'm not back 100% because there's still a portion of my mind that goes back to, all right, hey, this is just a reminder. We're still in process. You're not 100. This wound has not fully healed. So when you apply pressure to this place in your life, that place talks back. So I said, okay, all right, I'm aware. But I'm also aware that if I'm not agitating that spot, if I'm not putting that kind of pressure on my life, I don't necessarily need the meds. And so I was weaning myself off, weaning myself off, weaning myself off. And today I haven't used them at all. I monitor my behavior and no pain, which means now if as long as I stay on this track, I've taken another step. I'm testing myself. Now I realize, okay, if you're willing to do the right things, if you're willing to do what's necessary at this stage of your healing process, then you can stop doing this other thing. You don't need the medication. You don't need certain things in your life when you're moving forward. When you say, all right, I'm willing to do what it takes. And since I'm willing to do what it takes, I can allow myself another opportunity. I can allow myself to make a change. And I think it's really important in our lives as we are developing and we're building up this confidence. I think that it's very important that along the way, we don't just get comfortable in this new place and say, well, now because this medication is making me feel one way and this medication is helping me through the process and my behaviors during this time is helping me. Now I'm just going to become addicted to this process. No, we don't want to do that. Because if we become addicted to what's supposed to be helping us heal, then we're creating another problem. Multi-trillionaire says, what did you have surgery on, Brian, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, so as a recap, I had hernia surgery. So I had a hernia, and so I had hernia surgery, and I had it for a while. And as I shared, I finally went in and got it fixed. And so now, due to the hernia surgery, the doctor has told me, hey, listen, you can't lift a lot of weight right now. And he told me it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks of, he told me not even 25 pounds. So if he told me 25, I'm going less than 25. I'm not even trying to get towards what he said is maximum. And so this whole process it's been challenging for me because never in my life have I been limited on what I've been able to do. I've never had a physical limitation in my life in terms of not being able to do something. When someone told me, don't do this, when I had this hernia, I was telling myself, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't do this. But an outside person has never told me, hey, you're limited. Don't do this. So this is a new process for me. And me having to submit to that person's instructions, are a big deal. But guess what? I paid for that person's expertise, right? So it meant so much to me that I paid that person for their expertise. And I think it's just wisdom for me to listen. It's wisdom for me to say, you know what? You're the expert in this particular area. Yes, I know it's my life, but you're the expert in this particular area for what you have done. We ever think if you ever think about it, right? And this is a part of why building confidence is so important. How building confidence is so important, because if you're going to make changes, right? I have a note here on my desk. The only way, again, you know me, I'm always about a sticky note. So here's a little sticky note on my desk. The only way out of deception is to trust someone more than yourself, right? And so if you're being deceived and you say, all right, I'm gonna trust someone else. And if you're in pain and you don't know how to get out, see, when you don't know or you don't think that you can, then you need someone to help you. I didn't know. It was my body. And yes, I could be deceived into thinking, oh, I know best because it's my body. But that's deception. I don't know best. I didn't know best how to fix a hernia. I didn't know, listen, it's my body, but guarantee you, I wasn't going to cut 3 holes in my stomach and start sticking tubes on the inside trying to fix it. See, sometimes we need to get out of the deception that we know what's best for us, because we don't always. We don't always know what's best. In this situation, that man and all those women that were in the operating room, they knew better than me. They knew how to take care of me better than I did. It would have been simply deception to think that I could have continued living thinking that I knew what was best, because I didn't. I didn't know how to fix it. I prayed for it to be fixed. I wanted it to be fixed. But I had to go in and allow somebody else to use their expertise to look at my situation and say, all right, I know how to do this. Know what to do. We can do this. We can fix this. And so in this process, when you're healing, you're going through, you have to start testing. You have to start testing your strength. Perhaps, you go through a bad breakup, and, your confidence is a little shaken, or, something happens in the relationship and you question yourself. Perhaps you do something or someone else does something and you begin questioning yourself. Perhaps you love someone and then there's loss, whatever it may be. You go through this process where your confidence can be shaken. And you start to doubt yourself. Perhaps you try to build a business and your business fails, or perhaps you have a job and you get fired, or you enroll into school and you don't get that acceptance letter, and you begin questioning yourself. Perhaps I'm not that good, and you just start having doubts. You have doubts. And if you stay in that place, your life actually dies at that place. But if you choose to start building your confidence, then what happens is you give yourself a chance to live again. You create a vision. Even though I was rejected by that person, even though I was heartbroken by that person, I will still move forward. I will still continue on. This is not the end of me. This is going to work for me. I'm going to keep moving forward. This is going to work in my favor. And it might take a while. That might not be where you live right now. But if you continue practicing a particular kind of mindset, then you begin to change the way that you think. You change the way that you live. You want to transform your life? Transform the way that you think. And so you start going down this path, but you're going down a new path with your old stuff. All right? Like, let's keep that in mind. The moment you begin your new journey, the moment you begin this new transformation, the moment you begin going to that next level, you're going to that next level you're going to that next level from your old level. Like, your next level starts in the midst of all the mess that you've been experiencing. It starts where you're standing with all the junk, with all the pain, with all the hurt, with the injury, with the setbacks. Your next level starts in the midst of all of that. You're standing in that. And yet you're thinking, you know what? I have a thought that is in conflict to this very experience that I'm having right now. Your future thought is in conflict to your right now reality. So wherever you stand right now, everything good, bad, whatever, your thought for moving forward is going to be in conflict to that. When you have a vision, when you begin to think of moving forward, of growing, of developing, of changing, you are actually having a thought of conflict. You are now, as a visionary, you are now creating conflict in your own life on purpose because you have a dream of something more. Because you dare to dream of something more, you have also opened the door to conflict. So when you think, oh, this is so hard, you have no one to blame but yourself for being the dreamer that decided that you were going to do something. When you dream and do, you create conflict. And so you're going to move forward with all your old stuff, with all your old habits, and you are going to decide, as I move forward, I am going to let some things go. As I move forward, I am going to change what I'm doing. So I had surgery. They said, here, take these pills. I'm taking these pills. As I move forward, I started taking less and less pills. As I move forward some more, I started breaking it down to get to today's point where I said, all right, I'm not taking them anymore. I'm good. Today, I'm at 0 pills, which means today's the 15th day. In the 15 days of the healing process, I went from taking meds every few hours to less and less and less and less and spreading it out to today, I don't need them. That's what healing, that's the proof that you can have confidence in your healing because you can move forward, letting certain things go, and you don't feel the pain of releasing them. I don't feel pain because I released the drugs. As you move forward, you won't feel pain for letting some people go. You won't need them in your life like you once did. You won't be addicted to their approval like you once were. You'll be okay letting them go. As you move forward, you want to change your body. As you move forward, you know what? I'm okay changing my dietary habits. I don't need to eat that anymore like I once did. There was a lady that I trained and she used to drink six Cokes every day. She's like, I drink six cans of Coke every day. As she moved forward in her healing process, it went from 6 down to 5, down to 4, and so on until she got to the point where she was like, yeah, I can drink them when I want, if I want to, but not like I used to. As you move forward, you get to let go of what's behind you. There's this great passage. And you know me, I got to share with you from my experiences. And I enjoy the stories of the Bible. You don't have to believe them. I enjoy the stories of them. I enjoy the real life humanity in them. You don't have to believe anything about it. That's not that kind of argument. But there's this situation where Jesus is working with some people that were sick, and he tells them that they would be healed as they go. And that reminds me that progress in itself is healing. As you move forward, there can be healing from your past. Once you have that encounter, a healing encounter, right? You have the healing encounter. Once you move forward, as long as you stay on that track, you'll be healed as you go. The doctor told me, listen, what you're going to want to do probably is like lay around and just be still. He said, don't do that. Now, he told me, he said, it's probably going to feel like somebody has kicked you in the jewels multiple times. You're probably not going to want to move around much. Don't do that. He told me, don't do that. Moving around is going to help you heal. I said, okay. Now, I've been, hit that way before. And I was like, well, I don't want that experience. So I'm going to move. Right? All these people are praying for me, wishing me well. I'm going to move. So I walk out to the car, I get into the car, and then I get back to the house. Did I move around that day a little bit? I sure did. I walked up the steps. I walked around a little bit. Why? Because I wanted the pain to, I wanted the healing to start. And guess what? I never felt the pain that he said I would probably feel. I never felt any of that pain. The only slight discomfort that I had after surgery felt like I had had a really, really intense ab session. So it felt like the delayed onset of muscle soreness. That's what it felt like. That's what I had. Like a real good ab session after this surgery. That's the only pain. Only discomfort. I wouldn't even call it pain, just discomfort. My abs have actually hurt worse having some ab sessions. So now I'm thinking, all right, boom, I'm gonna keep moving forward, making progress, but realizing if I'm actually making progress, there needs to be change as I go. I can't really call it progress if I'm taking the same amount of pills today as I was taking then, and there's no change, and I'm still feeling all the same pain and everything. No, that's not progress. Progress says, oh, I was doing this, now I'm doing this. And you can measure progress by looking at, are you moving towards the vision that you had when you started the journey? When I went into surgery, so that, not for the sake of having surgery, so that a process could happen, so that healing could happen, so that I could be my strong self, my fully strong, without limitations self. So now the measurement is not whether or not I have pain. The measurement is, am I moving in strength? Am I moving in healing towards the strength that I desire to have? Is my mind being free of, oh, I'm not actually thinking about whether or not this hernia is pushing out of my abdomen again. For the last 15 days, I haven't thought about that. I haven't looked to see, oh, is it bulging like it? No, there's been no bulge. That's great. My mind is now free from something. See, you get to confidently test that you are moving in confidence as you start looking at your life and you say, oh man, there's something. You start moving in your life and you say, all right, let me test out what's going on. Let me test out what's going on. Let me see. Let me see if I'm stronger. Let me see. Let me see if I'm able to do this. Let me see if I'm still dependent upon those people like I once was. Let me see. And so you test. Test. The test will come in your life, and they're good tests. They're tests. Like, you need the test. In the gym, every month we would test. We would test, like we would do strength test. and the ladies would be there, and we would test out, just different things, how they're gaining strength, what changes are happening every few months. They would do what we call maxing out, and so they would see like what amount of new weight they can add to the bar to prove that they're getting stronger. And I had this big board, and I would write out the changes that were happening. Oh, this person is, lifting 10 more pounds than they did before. And we would celebrate it, make it a big deal, you know, call it the queen of the bar. So I made them shirts. I mean, everything, apparel. We were measuring this thing. So that's what we do to keep on moving, keep on testing. So Anna says, can you have a vision for your life and it not be the purpose of God and he intervenes? Oh yeah. Yeah, you can definitely have a vision for your life and it not be the purpose of God. There's in the Bible, there's a great example of this. There's this guy in the Bible who his name was Saul. He had a vision for his life and he was actually killing people. He was straight up killing Christians. He was killing them. He was a murderer, right? He was supporting it. He was all behind it. And so he's on his way to do the acts. He's on his way to help execute this business of killing people. And God intervened. Gives him a whole new identity, changes his life around. That same guy, Saul, becomes Paul, and he writes a good portion of the New Testament in the Bible. Now, I'm not trying to get into biblical stuff and people, none of that. It's just an example. I'll give you a more personal example. Throughout my whole life, I wanted to play professional baseball. I want to be a professional baseball player. I want to be a professional baseball player. I want to be a professional baseball player. Moving through life, I start getting older. I get into college. My mindset's changing. I want to change my focus. I believe that was a God moment. Like, just in a conversation with God, like, all right, I'm ready to do something different. I still have those experiences now. And I actually believe that I'm actually going through one of those experiences now, like real time. And my focus in life, God is showing me something different. Now, again, you might not believe in God. You might be like, I don't believe in God at all. Okay, you do you. I'm sharing this with you to be encouragement. And the question was asked. And so what I find is that in my discussion, sometimes, and let me say this, sometimes people feel like it's really deep. Like, okay, well, how do you know God is talking? Well, for me, I believe that when you can listen to a lot of things. You can listen to your environment, your situations. Sometimes there can be like an inner voice that you hear. And so I pay attention to all these things, right? I like try to be very sensitive to what I hear on the inside as well. But sometimes your situation can tell you when your situation is perpetually a certain kind of way and it's not producing life and not producing fruit, that can be an indicator. Sometimes we go through seasons. That's one thing. But sometimes you'll just find out that you're just banging your head up against a closed door. And that's the talk. That's the conversation that's saying, listen, this door isn't open for you. I have somewhere else for you to be. And yeah, it might be in contrast to what you've been thinking and everything like that. But that's okay because Bible says that God's thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So whatever the change is, it's a change to go higher. Again, you don't have to believe it. I'm just sharing what I'm sharing because I've seen it produce in life. That when you get in alignment with where you are designed to be and meant to be, things start to flow. You've heard me share before, perhaps, when I said, you can put me in a room and hand me a lot of computers. You can pay me a lot of money to do it. I'm not going to produce well for you. I'm not going to produce. I'm not going to produce well for you. That is a closed door. I would say God's favor is not on me in that area. You're like, man, I don't know why you're there either, because you're not good at that. I didn't even make you good at that. However, you can give me a microphone or drop me in an audience with 1 million people, 2 million, 10 million. It doesn't even matter how many people are there. You could give me a topic in 1 second and I'm going to be able to share, because I believe that being connected to people and sharing with people, I believe that I've been gifted to do that. Here's an example. As many days as we've been together, I, I don't write out a script. There's no script. There are no notes. I just share every day. We've been talking about confidence every day. And every day there are fresh thoughts. For me, in an area where, I don't know, some of the percentages say that this is one of the scariest things people think of is doing public speaking. It's natural for me. This is my part of the ocean. This is where I'm supposed to swim. I watched a movie. I watched the movie Cinderella. And from the movie, I have created endless teachings. I've created teachings on romance, teachings on fitness, health, and wellness. I've created teachings on relationships, on transformational thinking, because I could sit down and I could look at a movie and see details in it, pick it all apart, create a structure from it, organize it, systematize it, and deliver it as a teaching. So I'm saying that to say that's how you start to know mm, where your favor is. Follow your favor. What are you good at? What do you like doing? Right? Why are people drawn to you? Sometimes, oftentimes, if we get quiet enough, if we get still enough, and we're not necessarily listening to the outside voices and what people are telling us to do, if we ever get quiet enough, and I suggest one of the things I do, I rarely ever listen to um, like music, or I really never watch TV really. So my life is pretty quiet. I'm in the farm and walking around in nature and working, but my life is pretty quiet as it pertains to what I hear. So for me, it's a development of wanting to hear God. Like, that's what I call it. I'm like, that's hearing God. So I can be walking, carrying a wheelbarrow full of manure and see something. And then I'll hear something about it and it helps me. Oftentimes someone asked me actually about hearing God the other day. And this is a little off topic, but someone asked me about hearing God the other day. And I said, all right, so I said, do you ever talk to yourself on the inside? And they said, yeah, I do. I said, do you know can you hear the conversation? Can you actually hear the conversation if you quiet down? If you hear yourself saying like, you know, girl, don't wear those shoes, right? Or girl, that doesn't match, or, whatever. I said, do you talk to yourself? She said, yeah, I do. And I said, oftentimes the voice of God on the inside sounds like a familiar voice. So it might sound like your own voice. It might sound like, someone that you're close to, someone that encourages you. It'll sound like a familiar voice. And I said, and when you take time to practice actually being quiet to hear your thoughts and what's going on, I said, start writing them down. Start writing those thoughts down. And even when you pray, I said, pray. And then after you pray and after you're talking, sit and be quiet. Because a lot of times people pray, God, blah, 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 blah. And they don't even listen for a response, which might sound like, oh, but what kind of conversation do you just talk to people, talk to somebody and then, you never ever listen for a response? No. I said, so Like listen for a response, write it down, start listening. And then as you start building those notes, start hearing what you're hearing, then clarity can start to come from that. And I think that's a practice that you can use. Again, what do you believe? What do you think? Is it moving you to a higher level? I believe what I believe. I think what I think. It produces life for me. Like I believe that I heard on the inside it was time to go live. Start going live. You go live and just don't worry about it. Just start going live. Okay. Just start going live. Right. Wasn't all super organized. Like just start going live. Start showing up. Start telling people, all right, I'm gonna be live at this time. Boom. Things happen. But what will happen if you just start showing up? If you start really like taking that next step in confidence to start showing up in a particular area of your life, start showing up to the gym, start showing up, to your business idea, start showing up for your relationship, set aside time to say, I'm going to show up. Start showing up, start showing up, start showing up. And then you put in some work when you show up. And then you'll know. I think sometimes we can get so caught up, or LaRose, good to see you. We can get so caught up in thinking ourselves to be unable to do something like we talked about last night. We can get so caught up in what is impossible that we never take action to start causing it to be possible. And then therefore it never gets done. But if you live in the place of this is impossible, never take action, it'll always be impossible. But if you start moving, again, start moving, it'll start producing health, healing, a mental shift where you say, wow, I did that. Okay, I took action. It'll start building something. You'll start having some trust within yourself because you took action. I believe, like the doctor told me, action brings about healing. Why? In a physical sense, when you take action, you start walking, your blood begins to circulate. What is blood? Blood is going to be the very vitality of our lives that are carrying nutrients and water throughout our blood. It's carrying life into the extremities of your existence. So movement, action creates a way for blood, for life to flow throughout your life. Take action. You'll see the difference. And so as you move forward, I want to encourage you, take that next step to test where you've been. I didn't go out today and try to go deadlift 450. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to deadlift 100. The doctor told me don't do more than 25 pounds. Okay, I'm going to hang out around 10. This is like ego check time. This is where I get to check my ego because I have squatted 500 pounds. I've bench pressed over 300. So I'm a relatively strong person. So when he says do 25, I have weights sitting in front of me right now that are 20 pounds. I'm not touching them. Ego check. When you're starting to heal, when you're starting to grow, don't worry about the big, don't worry about doing the most that you've ever done before. No, do something to get yourself a victory. So I picked up my computer carefully. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't feel any pain lifting up my computer. Cool. That's a victory. Right? Like, that sounds dumb to me, but it's not dumb because I did not hurt myself. And guess what I care about? I don't want to go back in because I'm moving forward. And if I hurt myself, I have to go back into the into the hospital. I have to go back into surgery. I don't want to go back into that. I want to continue moving forward. So checking my ego now is way more important than going back and letting them know, I was doing too much and I tore open everything. That's craziness. No, not doing that. So move forward slowly. As you move forward, as long as you keep healing, guess what? You're healing because you are loving yourself. I'm going to shut down after this. You're loving yourself enough to go slowly. But what did I tell you the other day? When you are loving yourself enough to go slowly, love is actually an accelerator. Loving yourself enough to go slowly is going to increase your healing process so that you can be strong. It's the other stuff that we do when we're trying to do too much and we have all the ego involved and we're not really connected and we're just doing and doing and doing, just trying to prove to the world that we can do so much. That's not love. That's ego. That's toxic behavior. What's up, Leah? And so don't do that. Don't sit there hurting yourself, because that's slowing you down from getting where you want to go. You're sitting here right now juggling too many things. There's too many, you're spending too many plates, trying to keep everything going. No. That's not love. Love says, you know what? I'm going to stop this plate. I'm going to focus on one plate. I'm going to go slow. So there you go. Anna said, I spent my life chasing dreams. Now at 65, I found out that all those things were not my purpose. And you know what? Good for you. You know why that's good for you? Because now at 65, you have life to live. And guess what? Knowing what wasn't for you, even you're like, I'm 65. Great. You know what that means? Time to live. Now you're about to live and it's going to accelerate. You get into that place and the time starts getting redeemed. It's not like, oh no, life is not over. Oh no. I don't want anybody thinking, do not use like looking at that date and I'm 65, I'm 99, whatever. My grandmother, she's 92. And she said the other day, she said, "Ooh, I feel so alive. I feel like," and she was talking about wanting to travel and do things and like what her next chapters are. I'm like, that's pretty great. Grandma's 92 and she's talking about her next chapters. She goes and gets piano lessons and she's learning how to play the piano and she's working on that. She's like, I'm 92. I'm not dead. I'm alive. So while I'm living, I'm going to live. She's learning. I mean, she learned how to work Zoom, right? Like, don't you think for a moment that whatever your chronological age is the limiting factor? Because there are plenty of people in their 20s that aren't living, in their 30s that aren't living. There's a lady, she's in her 60s. I was in a meeting with her 3, 4, 5 days ago. She said, I'm reworking my entire life. My life is starting brand new right now. I was like, I feel it. I like it. She's like, my life is starting brand new. Listen, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you get a new mindset about the time that you are being given each and every day, your life will be different. But don't sit there and play with it. Don't sit there and act like we have so much time to waste. No, don't waste it. Try some stuff. Move forward. That's why I said 7 days. Try something new every day. Every day, do something new. The other night, I slept with a dry erase board next to me in the bed because when I got ideas in the middle of the night, I wanted to be able to wake up and write them down. And so I didn't even turn on the lights. I just started writing things on this dry erase board. Then I woke up, I transferred it to a notebook. Another night, I laid in the bed. I have one of those, desk, little bed desk. And instead of being on the phone or anything like that, I sat there and I was drawing, just sketching out property, the way I want the property to be laid out for this resort. I was sketching it out. Like, all right, just doing things just to get my mind in a different place. So it's not too late. Just start. Get around some people. Don't be in awe of anyone so much that you don't do something. If you find somebody that's doing something that you want to do, find a way to get around them or somebody that's like them. I wanted to start a podcast. I got around podcasters. Wanted to start entrepreneurship. I got around people that were entrepreneurs. You want to get married? Start hanging around people that are having healthy marriages. Like, whatever it is. You want a dog? Start going to PetSmart and hanging around the dogs. They don't even have dogs there. Go to the SPCA. Hang around dogs. All right. I got into horses. I hung around horse people. You know why? Because that's where I was going to begin learning. Like, let's just make life really, really simple. Whatever you see in the midst of your scrolling and whatever you find to be of interest to you, that's a clue. That's a clue. That might be something that you want. Like, oh, okay. I like vacationing. I like traveling. So I have my scrolls include unique places to travel. I oftentimes get people that are cliff diving. I want to do that. I do want to do that. It's one of the things I want to do. I want to jump out of an airplane, right? I've driven a motorcycle. I've driven it fast, right? I know what it means to drive a motorcycle 130 miles an hour. I know what that feels like. I've had that experience. I won't have it again, but I have that. I have that, right? But I hung around motorcycle people. I want to provoke you. I want to provoke you to move, not just to sit there and look at your life. I want to provoke you to dream and do. And so hopefully tonight has been encouragement where you can take action confidently and test your growth. Test it. Test it by letting something go. Yeah, 130 was, Josh, it was insane. I was on the back. I'm going to tell a brief story. So I'm riding my bike, and I'm like in the country in Pennsylvania. And so there was a straightaway, and there was like cornfields on both sides. There's a straightaway. And I said, okay, got this. And so I hit it, and I'm like, okay, 60, 70, 80. This thing is getting up. It gets up, passes 100, and I'm leaning down, and it's fast at this point. Holy smokes. I get up there, I touch 130, and I let that thing off, and I slow it down. The adrenaline was pumping. It felt awesome. And then afterwards, I thought, there's no margin for error at 130 miles an hour. Anything happens, that's it, is done deal. But I liked it. I like pushing to that limit. It was a calculated push because I felt like I saw enough around me. But like if a bird would have like swooped down on me, I would have been toast. Right. But anyway, so I did it. But I liked it. You know why? And let me tell you why. Part of the reason that I liked it is because for a large part of my life, I've been scared. I've been scared to do things. I've been scared to take risk. Very, like in the name of wisdom, in the name of doing what was right, I let fear sometimes keep me from taking risk. And so every now and then for me, I need to find a new way to awaken myself. I need to find just a new challenge or a new struggle to make me uncomfortable. I need to be in a setting or a situation that challenges me, that pushes me, that makes me go faster or run harder or do something, be competitive. I need to feel an adrenaline rush. Like, I'm not an adrenaline junkie by any means, but I don't want to be afraid. One of the things I said I was going to leave a few minutes ago, but one of the things that I use to check myself, and again, going back to testing, is fear. One of the things I use to test myself is fear. If I am in a situation and I feel afraid, it's a good chance that I'm going to try to do that thing. Like, it's a good chance that I'm going to do it because I don't like being afraid of something. Because to me, that means that thing is bullying me. And my past experiences in life where I have been bullied by people, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Because that's where it takes me to. It takes me back to being in elementary school and middle school and being in relationships where people bullied me because I was nice. And I felt, and that's where I thought, oh, nice guys finish last because I'm so nice. These people bully me and I take it because I'm a nice guy. Nah. Mm-mm. What I recognized later on in life was it had nothing to do with being nice. I was being afraid. There's a major difference. See, I'm nice, but I'm not afraid. I'm nice, but you're not going to beat me up. Like, there's been a change in Brian's life. I'll be nice to you, but don't fight me because I will fight you. And so there are things that I would intentionally do, right? Because I wanted to constantly push myself. I went to the gun range for the first time and they handed me a gun and they're like, okay, we're going to shoot at the target. That very first time that I ever shot a gun, my heart was racing because in that moment, I'm like, this is new to me. This is a lot of power. And I'm thinking, you see the movies and somebody shoots the gun and it like shoots all up like that. And I'm thinking like that. I'm like, oh crap. What in the world is about to go on? I was afraid. And then I shot the gun and it was all right. And I liked it. So then I went and started taking more lessons because I liked it and I didn't want to be afraid. But I also learned this. I wanted to understand how to use power. I wanted to understand if I had that much power in my hands, how to use it responsibly. See, for me, it became another lesson. It became, okay, first I was afraid of power. Then I experienced the power. Now it's how do I handle power? Because now I'm responsible for this power that I have in my hands. Game changer. See, I think a lot of people miss that. Like, no, I feared it. I feared it. I was afraid. I was like, I don't want a gun, please. I didn't grow up with guns. I grew up in a house with pastors and with Bibles. Like, that's what I knew. We didn't even talk about guns. But then I got involved and then I became like the ambassador. I was like, listen, first of all, they're fun. I'm like, you can go out and shoot targets and it's fun. Great. But the lesson of how to handle power, even better. Like, you have to be responsible. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. We can touch on that another day, but you have power. And you're moving as you continue to heal your mind, as you continue to heal your life. You have power. And with that power, as you're taking incremental steps, I would suggest that you test it. I would suggest that sometimes you take away a piece of what has been a piece of what has become comfortable for you. Take that away, remove that thing so that you can see that you're actually healing. A cast is not meant to stay on forever. If a cast stays on forever, what happens is everything that's inside of the cast begins to atrophy. Those muscles begin to die because they are not being used. So your creative muscles might be dying because you haven't used them because you're afraid. Your romantic muscles might be dying because you haven't used them because you're afraid of being hurt. Your whatever skills that you have, whatever talents that you have, they might be dying because you're not using them because you're afraid because of something in your past. because of some injury, because of some person hurting you, because of something that you've done. So take a step, do something, test it. Say, all right, I'm gonna give it a try again. All right. It's always good hanging out with you all. I appreciate you. Um, these are great sessions, and I like talking with you. And just so you know, next month is going to be, we're going to another level. Um, I have no um, I have no desire to stay at the same level month by month. It has to be a month of growth. So um, next month we're going to be growing. We'll be adding some new things. I'll be um, adding some different times and different ways to connect. So look forward to that. I'll be sharing hopefully some stuff tomorrow and throughout these next few days, just so you can know what we're going to be doing and some different opportunities that are there. So let's get ready to shut it down. As I do, I'm going to shut it down with prayer, and I encourage you and ask you to stay so I could, just share a prayer with you and as a blessing and a closure to this moment. Again, you don't have to believe what I believe, but it won't be anything that is to harm you. I guarantee that. It'll be to encourage you, to be a blessing on your life, because if I can't do that, then all this stuff it means nothing. So if you're not being encouraged, I'm not doing the right thing. So let's pray. Father, thank you for this day that you've made, a day for us to rejoice and be glad and be connected and to grow and develop. Thank you for the gifts that you have given us, the gift of time, the gift of breath, the gift of health and strength, the gift of change. Thank you that what our lives have been is not what our lives have to be forever. And so I thank you for the opportunity to change. And I'm so grateful that a thought, words, community makes a difference. I'm thankful that those that we are around can bring out the best in us. And so tonight, I thank you for each one that's here and for them adding to this community in this moment. Those that are watching now live and those that are watching on replay, I pray for each one of them that their lives would be blessed. I pray that something today in these times together has been encouragement to them, to build them up, to strengthen them, to give them just some more fuel in the tank so that they can run in life and move forward. I pray that someone's mind is being activated with new thoughts and hopes and dreams, and that most of all, that they take action. That it won't just be a matter of thought, that we won't just be a community of thinkers, but we will be thinkers that will take action so that we can do, not just hearing the words, but doing the words, doing the thoughts, making the difference in this world, making an impact, finding that fulfillment in each of these breaths that have been given to us. I pray that as we move forward, that you would show us which way to go. Help us to be sensitive to hear and to listen and to move, even if it means going a different direction. Help us to do that. Help us to believe that all of these situations and circumstances in life are working for us and not against us. Life is happening for us and not to us. Help us to believe and move in that. I pray someone be strengthened. I pray someone be encouraged. I pray someone would rest. Those that have been having struggles sleeping at night, I pray that you would give them sweet slumber, a sound sleep tonight, so that they can wake up refreshed and ready to go. Help them not feel like they've been battling all night long, but give them a refreshing sleep. I pray blessings upon each one. And as we go, I pray that you would protect them and their families, those that they care about, and bring us back together at the appointed time. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you all for hanging out and being here. And thanks for being encouragement to me always. I appreciate you tremendously. Um, always makes it's a highlight of my day to get together and to talk a little life and to move forward. So have a fantastic night. I'm going to jot down a few notes and get settled in for the evening, let my body rest. That's another part. Rest is important. It's not my best thing. I'm not the best at resting, but I'm trying to heal, so I need to rest. So I'm going to keep on practicing. Bad habits die hard, and I have bad habits of staying up way too late. But thank you, Shauna. It is so good to know that you have been really encouraged. Thank you for being here. You've been encouragement to me. So please know that as well. And you letting me know that, it means a lot. So thank you. All right, you all have a fantastic evening. I'm B.A. Shepherd, 2 P's, A-R-D, reminding you to be a shepherd. The world has enough sheep. Have a fantastic night. Love you much. See you.